Welcome, movie fans. Thanks for joining us for episode 121 of Reading Between the Reels, the premier podcast of dead bird metaphors. If you're a new listener, we're so glad you found us. If you've been enjoying the show, please like, follow, and subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can also support the show by posting on your socials and by joining our Facebook group. I'm Craig Dickinson, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-hosts Corey Heitschmidt and Justin Eldon. Guys, how's it going tonight? What's up?
Fantastic. Are you watching closely? What's
great.
From the movie?
It's great. Yeah, it is from the movie.
Yeah. So, Corey, I'm going to start with you. What have you been watching this week?
Okay, I got two things. I started watching The Orville again. I absolutely love this show.
Yeah.
Watching it now. This is where Star Trek needs to go. Star Trek, like, you fast forward 400 years and it's still movie references. It's still our humor. It's fantastic. So, and they have some plots in there that are absolutely dynamite, including their robots. So, speaking of robots, that's my second thing I've been watching this week is AI Bigfoot vlogs on TikTok. I think they're fantastic. And they've just branched. They morphed. One guy who did a account had nothing. The next day he had 130,000 followers because he posted 3 videos from this VO3 of a Yeti. And so you look and you go, where else have you seen traction like that? Like, we know and now they're blowing up. You don't even know which ones you're watching if you're still on the original guy that started it, because they've blown up so much, and I can't keep up. But I think they're tremendous. I think it's a tremendous branch of where this is going. AI, writers, directors, Hollywood, actors. I don't know what you guys are going to do. I don't know what you're going to do in about a year and a half when this stuff is so incredibly detailed you can't tell the difference from reality and fiction.
I mean, you also got this AI that'll like mimic podcasters, so
we could be AI.
Right now we might be.
I feel like if I was AI, you better start paying for some better upgrades.
Let's do another version. Justin, what about you? What have you been watching?
I haven't watched a whole lot this week. It's been kind of a busy week, but I started to catch up on Daredevil on Disney Plus, which the Daredevil Born Again, which is just really good. I don't like it quite as much as the Netflix one, because I think Disney had to make some concessions in order to fit it nicely into the MCU and whatnot. But overall, it's been really solid. I feel like the Netflix series Daredevil set up some really amazing characters, and this kind of follows through on it. And I'm happy to see those characters kind of get what they deserve in terms of more screen time, specifically Matt Murdock, Daredevil, and Kingpin. They are just, oh man, fantastic. So that's been really good. I know I'm behind on that. That was culturally relevant like a couple months ago. The other thing I've been watching is, I think it's on Hulu. I was having a hard time finding it. It's the new like Predator anthology series, like animated.
Yeah, that's on my list. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, some clips look great.
I really like the world of Predator, like the idea that they're sent to different planets or different places in order to like find the strongest predator and like take it out. But it's been really good so far. I don't normally like animated stuff, but I very much enjoyed it, and any sort of world building that can happen within the Predator franchise, like I'm on board with that. I like that franchise quite a bit.
Was it a series or was it a movie?
Okay,
I only saw the samurai clip where these two guys were fighting one, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's like what's it called? Where it's like a bunch of short. I'm not sure. I only watched like the first
anthology.
One. Yeah, I think it's multiple short, unconnected episodes, if that makes sense. Is that what an anthology is?
Definitely.
Yeah, I only watched the first one so far, and it was like Vikings, and it was really cool. Yeah, I liked it. But I like most of the Predator franchise. I'm trying to think of a movie I don't like in that franchise.
Probably not.
The Alien vs. Predators. Those are just bad.
There it
I mean,
is.
those are just bad, but those don't count.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been great. Worth a watch.
Okay, cool.
Craig, what about you?
I mean, it's been a little while, so I've watched a lot. But the ones that I would talk about would be I watched There Will Be Blood again. I'd only seen that the one time. Amazing movie. Cinematography, like Oscar-winning cinematography. Daniel Day-Lewis is just magnetic and just a fantastic movie. Dark, disturbing. Doesn't make you feel good, but it's captivating. I miss going to the movies, but I made it to Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning in the opening weekend, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Took my kids, and I'm not going to spoil it. Yeah,
the last one was good. Did it rise up to it?
I thought so. I think, as much as I said about the last one, I said like it was super tense. It was like one of the most tense movies I'd ever seen. Like I just feel like on the edge of your seat. This movie had that cranked up to 11.
Oh.
Where there were moments where like, yeah, it's not mission hard, it's mission impossible because there's no way you can do this crap. And there were multiple things where like, and it just got worse. And it got worse. I mean, because usually it's like, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. And you're like, there's no way you can do that. This was more like, all right, this is this impossible thing we're going to do. And it's going to get far more complicated while you're doing it. It's a lot of fun. It's long, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Were there some stunts in there that you looked at and said, Tom Cruise is crazy for doing this?
Oh, yeah. He's hanging on the outside of a biplane, dude.
Oh, okay. I mean, once in a while.
That was one of those scenes where we were like, it's completely vertical and the man's going to fall. And I know this is a movie, but I'm kind of worried for it, even though I know it's not real.
And then I got to ask about your Daniel Day-Lewis movie.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder like what he was like on set for something like that? Because he's such a method, immersive actor that in a dark movie like that, like he must be.
I'm guessing he would have been very hard to be around.
Oh my gosh! Like I always think to myself,
him for Gangs of New York.
Yeah,
like he would be so frustrating during that.
Like, just shut up, dude. Like, sit down and let me eat my burger.
I mean, you can't. He's gonna drink your milkshake. It's completely captivating. You can't. He's magnetic. So.
You know what else? Sorry, that reminded me. I watched Last of the Mohicans this week.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen that movie since like 5th grade.
It's so good.
That movie.
And in 5th grade, I didn't know who Daniel Day-Lewis was, and I was like, "Holy crap, Daniel Day-Lewis is in this!"
I think that was the first thing I ever saw him in.
Yeah, and then when you hear that music,
really good.
I didn't see My Left Foot. I think I saw In the Name of the Father a little bit later on, but the music, Michael Mann. It's just cinematography of that one too. Great film. We may have to do that at some point. It's because it's just
as good as that movie is. The soundtrack is better than that movie deserves, if that makes sense. But the movie is good. The movie is good, but the soundtrack is better.
That's a good point.
It is a good soundtrack.
That ending scene is so. You know that culminating fight. It was on TikTok here. I'm flipping through it, and it just popped up like 2 weeks ago, Justin. It's funny you brought that up. But that ending fight is so fast and so quick of a resolution. And you root for him so quick to kill that guy. And then when he does, you're just like, yes! Oh, I was hoping that would drag out a little more. But still, get him!
Yeah. In watching that movie, though, I'm just like, oh, this is so good. This feels like it could be a prequel to The Patriot. And I'm like, wait.
It kind of could be.
It's like literally a prequel to The Patriot. Like, historically.
He could have been there. Benjamin Martin could have been off the background somewhere. Nice. So... we're not talking about that though. As much as we would love to. We're going to talk about, what are we talking about tonight, Justin?
We are talking about The Prestige by Christopher Nolan, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we've been watching closely.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Craig, why don't you give overall thoughts first? I feel like you always go last. You go first.
Yeah, I typically do.
I'm just going to hijack this. Stole it.
Do it. Awesome. All right, my first thing with this movie is that it absolutely demands a rewatch. You can't watch it just one time. You absolutely need to see it more than once.
Yes.
It is, in some ways, kind of the prototypical Christopher Nolan movie in the fact that it has the non-linear thing. But you add to that here's a word for you, epistolatory, because it's made up of letters part. So you have the different narrators going on, and then that's bending into each other. It's I was going to drop an F-bomb there. It is a mind jack with you. Yeah, jacks with your mind. It's so good. It was nominated for a couple of Academy Awards, and for Best Production Design and Best Cinematography, and lost both of those to Pan's Labyrinth, which, depending on your mileage, I can see that, but I think this movie is great, and it has only gotten better every time I've seen it. I enjoyed it more every time I watch it. I enjoyed it a little bit more. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. So this movie, I think it's one of the first movies that I saw multiple times in theaters. I loved it so much. And that was even before I was like super into movies. I saw it in theaters. I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. And yeah, the more you watch it, I feel like the twist at the end, it's there all along. Like the twist at the end where it's a body double. It's his brother. Here's his twin, whatever. I guess the twin is a brother. There are so many clues that just, it drops it over and over and over and over again. It's like you almost feel stupid not noticing it. And I mean, that's the genius of the film. It was right there all along, and you just never picked up on it. Or maybe I'm really stupid. I don't know. But the whole story feels like, and I'm stealing this from somebody. I don't know who I stole it from. I read it online somewhere. It's like a nesting doll of a story, like a Russian nesting doll. Like there's like stories within stories within stories, as these two magicians are like reading each other's journal, and it's like jumping back through their memories. And it's laid out so perfectly that by the end of the film, you're not even rooting for anybody. Like you just kind of hate both of them.
Yeah.
But you also at the same time want both of them to be happy, but they just can't leave each other alone. And I think I say this about a lot of movies that we covered, but like this is one of my favorite top 5 favorite movies. I love it so much. It's fantastic.
Corey.
And Corey.
Yeah.
A top 5 slot. A top 5?
Top 5.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
you got Black Widow, Wolverine, and Batman, and Alfred all in the same movie. Like, what more do you want?
Yes. Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, this whole cast is stellar. Stellar. And we're going to talk about the cast. I think it's just amazing. Like, I guess here's the thing. I thought it was a good movie. I did not think it was a great movie. I agree with you, Craig. This is typical Nolan. It's non-linear. It bounces around. You have to kind of really focus. And Nolan does this. I'm going to write a hugely complex story, and the viewer has to pay attention to all the little details along the way. Because every single thing that's in the movie is intentional. And that's typical Nolan, right? And so I appreciate that, because I look and I say, as a filmmaker, I want a guy who thought of all the little T's and I's and crossed them and dotted them and did all these things and threw in some Easter eggs and did some great stuff. Absolutely fantastic. I love that. Okay. Nolan does that. I feel like this movie was too long and could have just been an episode of a Twilight Zone. That's what this was. At the very end, when Alfred reads his little montage, I know it's not Alfred, sorry. It's Cutter. When Cutter reads his little montage of, after the Prestige and you want to be fooled, you could have finished with, and that's how it ends here in the Twilight Zone. Like, you could have done that, played the Twilight Zone music, credits rolled, instead of that weird song they played, bam, there you go. It's Twilight Zone show. And you could have knocked it down to an hour because it was a little boring for me there. But it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I'm not taking that away. Okay? I think it's a great story. There's layers to this story. They're both looking for the cost of greatness and the dark side of being human ambition. And I have to one-up this guy who one-ups me, and I'm going to sabotage him while he sabotages me. I mean, and then at the end, they're both scarred and they both walk away, horribly having lost something. It's just,
here's the thing. Sorry, I thought you were done there. Go
no,
ahead.
I am done. So for me, yeah, it's good. It's good.
I don't think it could have been any shorter. Like, you could not have cut anything out of this, because Cutter cutting things out. Cutter at the beginning lays it out. Like, he lays out the way a magician works.
Yep.
He explains that there's first the pledge, where the magician shows you something ordinary. He lays out that then there's the turn where they take something ordinary and they make it into something extraordinary. And then he says, making something disappear isn't enough. You have to bring it back, and that's the prestige, right? Mm-hmm. That's the movie. The movie is like what Cutter describes at the beginning. He tells you what's going to happen right out of the gate, right? And if you like, you almost could have had like title cards in each section of this movie. The pledge, the turn, the prestige. I mean, that wouldn't be as cool, but that's the formula the movie follows. And I feel like if you cut anything out of there, you would lose that, right? Because like the prestige at the end is when he's brought back. Christian Bale's character is back. And you're like, how the heck is this guy alive? Well, I guess you have kind of two prestiges because Christian Bale's like Alfred's back and Angier's back. So double prestige.
It was a twin. We knew it was a twin the whole time, right?
You know it was I didn't know it was a twin the whole time.
Oh man,
they hint at it. That's not definitive until you get to it.
And when you watch it again, having seen it, I tell you what, you look at the twin and you're like, his costume and outfit is like, that's a twin. It's obvious.
Did you know the first time you saw it that Christian Bale was playing both characters?
Yes.
What was
because
his
I think
name?
His makeup was too obvious, like the beard and
really?
The hat. Like I always thought it was. Like that part never caught me. I was never thrown by the twin with Christian Bale. The only thing I was ever thrown, because they even say it's a twin, but I was only ever thrown was the hat and the machine from Nikola Tesla. And I was like, at the end, that caught me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. It really did work, and he was carbon copying himself.
Oh man, maybe I'm just not observant, because I did not. My first watch, when we found out that he was a twin, I was like, holy cow, what the heck?
Well, I think their personalities were too different, which is great. I will say this, give this to Christian Bale. The guy, you could always tell which character he was in their accent and in the angry. One twin was very angry. The one who loved Scarlett Johansson was angry all the time.
Yeah, he was in love with Magic. The other guy was in love with what's her face?
Yeah. Yeah, and the other guy was in love with his actual wife, so.
All right, well, let's dig into some of the things that show us that kind of hint that drop hints all the way through, starting with the cinematography. So composition, color, camera work. Somebody just jump in. What do you got for those things that you pulled out this time?
Maybe I wasn't watching closely. I feel like the whole color palette of the entire film is just like turn of the century, Industrial Revolution, London, right? Everything has just got like a layer of grime, layer of coal on there. I didn't even notice anywhere in the film there's no like, except for in the funeral, when they're putting
like
the body away.
There?
Yeah, in the mausoleum. Like that's the only place where there's like any sort of white. Everything else is just dirty and grimy and gross. And it did seem a little bit cleaner anytime you went to anything dealing with Angier. His act was cleaner. His entire look was cleaner, a little bit brighter, whereas Borden's act was more dusty and grimy and gross. And I think it just kind of speaks to what those two really focused on, right? Angier was more about the spectacle, whereas Borden was more about the magic itself, the commitment to the magic.
Corey, what do you got?
I would agree with Justin. Like it's hard to watch it. I do agree. Like one, it's all muted colors. It's very Victorian of the timepiece. Everything's dirty, dusty, muted colors. There's not a lot of flashy colors and stuff, except when he's doing his final act and all of a sudden he's in glowing white. Hugh Jackman was in glowing white at the end. And then when the part that stood out to me was when Christian Bale was doing the teleporting man door with a ball, and it was so boring in there and so pale. And even the red ball was kind of like a flat red. I mean, everything was dark. It wasn't, and he was kind of bland, like, okay, this next trick, like bored. Everybody looked bored. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And then you go to Hugh Jackman and he's got people laughing. He truly is the greatest showman.
Yeah. Well, and that speaks to their character. Like they pull that out in the movie. Like he's a great magician, but he's not a good showman. Like that's the whole. He's the
greatest showman.
He's a genius magician, but that's why his
nobody got my joke there. It was too subtle.
We got it. Wasn't subtle, Corey.
Oh, okay. But he is fantastic. Like he's Flash and he's Show and he's like you're looking at the two people committed to the darkness and the magic and and doing this, and then committed to showing and Flash. And so I thought it was great to kind of contrast the two, right? And I thought it good. But you know what? The main thing I noticed, Craig, with the camera, Nolan does is he always comes in on these tight shots for close-up emotional stuff sometimes. Like he brings you right up here, which to me makes me look and think, you know how actors are probably got to use their hands and their body motions and things. But with Nolan's films, when he does a tight shot like this, that's really on the actor and their face and what they're doing and committing to make you believe. Like there's a little pressure there. You can't just act that way and carry that off like on a tight shot where it's mostly your face on the screen.
Sure. And you know what's interesting for Christian Bale to go from his most previous big role, which would have been Bruce Wayne and Batman, who has his face covered most of the time, you got to do a lot more face acting in this one. And I feel like Christian Bale nailed it from everything from his like the way his mouth moves. You can tell there's like a tension, like in the way he is speaking, and almost like a restraint in everything that he does. Like you can tell he's stressed even when he's relaxed because he's constantly playing that part of the magician, but only half alive.
Sure. Well, I had a bunch of stuff for this one. I thought there were some fascinating things in this one, beginning with just that opening shot that's panning over the dozens of top hats, which we don't know what that means at the beginning, and I love that that's just kind of foreshadowing for what's going to come. Having seen it multiple times, you know what that means, but I think that's just a genius way to kind of just set things in motion. You're like, why are all these hats here? A couple of other things that I really liked composition-wise. When Angiers gets the body double, and he's the one who comes out of the door, and so Angier has to go down below, where he has this great shot where he's in the dark and he's absolutely silhouetted, taking in the applause, but it's not enough for him because he's not in that spotlight. And I think they do a great job with body language for him, but also just showing like what he's missing from that. He's almost like reluctantly puts his arms up and tries to take that. Some other things that I thought were just struck me as just really powerful is when Sarah dies, when she hangs herself, the way that shot. And I have this actually like for the like not a lot of the effects that jumped out at me, but the drop sound where she hangs herself first off, but then you have it like there's a shot where you see it right below the neck is the first shot, and then it's off to the side. So this is very detached, almost unemotional, very cold view of that body. It's very shocking. Like you kind of see where that's going, but then when it actually happens, it's really disturbing the way that's just set aside there.
You know what's interesting about that too is like you said at the top of the show, there's a lot of bird metaphors.
Yeah.
When you first hear the drop, you hear a bunch of birds flutter, like out of shock and awe, which I feel like connects to the whole. You're killing birds, you're bringing birds back. Angier's all about like he doesn't want to hurt the bird,
Yeah.
Whereas Christian Bale's character is more okay
care about getting his hands dirty. Yeah.
Yeah, he's okay getting his hands dirty.
Yeah.
But what's funny is the flip on that. Okay, then you take at the very end of the movie, Angiers is completely fine with killing another person, even though they're a clone,
or himself.
Killing another person or himself. And getting his hands dirty rather than...
That's how it evolves. Yeah.
It's very... but I will say, Craig, I got to point this out just because you said it and it's so powerful. And that leads me to a huge question, a crisis I had in this movie. Because when he's under the stage and he's taking his bow, when he does the Prestige at the very end and he comes up in the balcony, right? And you see him, he does the exact same bow.
They're totally right.
The exact same. And it was I'm not sharing this. I was hearing the applause earlier. They were all going, but they were going to this drunk guy who looked like me, and he couldn't live with that. He had to be the accolades. He had to receive it. So I thought that was a really good moment, which leads to my question then. At that moment, is he the copy or is he the original? Because I still think no matter what, scientifically, he's the copy. But that's the question. And I looked on forums online and people still can't. They argue one way or another all the time. But
yeah, Justin and I talked about this a little off mic. Yeah.
Because does the machine create a copy and then shoot that copy, 30, 40 yards away? Or does it take the original and shoot it 30, 40 yards away?
Yeah, we don't get a definitive answer on that. All we get him. There's one line of dialogue where he says, I had to do this every night, and will I be the man in the box or will I be the man in the Prestige?
And he makes that.
But Tesla gives him the answer. Tesla says, when he says take your hat, he says which one? He says they're all your hat.
Yeah,
so
it's all him.
It doesn't matter. It's all him.
But
that's true. You're an exact copy no matter what.
But the stage part, I think, does point it out, because that's the part that, if you want me to look and say this is a great movie, this is where I would hang my hat on it. Because he's under the stage and saying, that's my bow, and I was not content being a double, and I was not content just making a twin and letting him live, because then I could have just done the twin thing, right? And destroyed the machine and just had two of us, and we would have done this trick easily and nobody dies. He is so addicted to that, wanting that praise, that he's going to go and kill himself every single night so that he can stand up there and get that accolade alone and not share it.
I think it works either way. Whether or not,
and not only that, to fall into the water and not hear it and drown and die. He has to.
Well, he's not only getting the praise; he's like living what his wife went through. Like, he couldn't bring himself to drown himself earlier in the film, or maybe he was just trying to experience what his wife was experiencing.
He tried to kill himself in the.
Which makes me think that he's
doing
original.
both. He's getting the praise.
The original
gets
praise transported,
and he's killing his wife,
and the copy is made on the machine.
Yeah,
if I had to pick, I'd say he's killing himself every night. That's
and the new one just takes over.
But because it's such an exact copy, as Justin alluded to, all the hats are the same. That it's both. You're killing yourself and recreating yourself every single night. But
I turned the subtitles on for that part, and when he shoots himself, he says, "I'm not," and I thought he was going to say, "I'm not the copy," and then he got shot.
Both
so now I know. Yeah, well, that's just it. But my point is, he can't be so committed to this trick that he's willing to do it one night and then the next night die.
Well, I think
he's willing to kill someone that's not him.
I think it's both, though. I think he just wants to be
threefold. He wants the praise. He wants to experience what his wife experienced, and he wants to beat Borden. And by doing this, he's accomplishing all three. Yep. All he needed was for Borden to show up one of those nights, and that's the night that's his last show.
Yep.
Boom. I'm dead. Therefore, you're a murderer.
Oh, it's so good.
No, yes. But in my mind, I can't see what you can't just kill yourself. I can know I'm being transported, I'm safe, and what I'm killing isn't a person or myself. It's just a copy, and I have no attachment to it. I'm not going to say
didn't know. It was a gamble every time.
But he makes that line. He says that line. I didn't know every night if I was going to be the one in the tank or the one on the outside. He admits that to us.
He has to know.
But he doesn't.
How would he? It's an exact copy.
He can't know.
Ding Nikola Tesla.
It's Nolan. It's going to mess with you.
Yeah, it's good. All right. And I love Tesla in it, so I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. We'll get to that. A couple of things I want to mention, just kind of about that. I also had like the earth tones and the fact that most of it is very natural lighting in this. I'm like doing some research on Wally Pfister. Like, that is really almost always his goal, is to make it look unlit as much as possible, or make it look like natural lighting, and like nails it in this. And so you get a lot of obviously dark because there's not a lot of electricity and whatnot. But some other things too, I don't know if you guys noticed how much handheld camera work there was in this one. There's a ton, especially walking through the streets, which kind of keeps us off balance a little bit and uncomfortable. But the thing that really stood out to me is, and Corey, you kind of alluded to this too, like where you have Hugh Jackman up on the stage all in white or whatever, and from that low angle, is that you have this repeated setup whenever the acts are happening, where there's this low angle looking up at the performer, like we're in the audience. It's very much that we're part of that, but then they also almost every time are giving us an over-the-shoulder shot looking down on the audience. So it's immersive both ways. We are both part of the audience and part of the trick. We're in on the trick and part of the audience at the same time. It's incredibly immersive in both of those things.
Yes. I agree with that.
I mean, that's just like, it's just genius.
Once you say it, it's like, oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just thoroughly impressed by this. I'm like, dang it, should have won Best Cinematography. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think the fact that this movie was in between the two Batmans was such a disservice to it, because it gets completely overshadowed, and it came out at the same time as, The Illusionist, as often, movie studios have, competing titles, and it's just, it got sandwiched in between some other stuff, and it just gets forgotten, but might be Batman one of his best movies.
Right? It's the movie between the Batman movies that Batman's also doing, so it's kind of like, it's just movies doing it in his spare time almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of had that feeling. I remember feeling that way. I'm waiting for the next Batman movie. What's this thing he's doing?
I feel like if this movie came out today, it would get much more traction now that, Scarlett Johansson's much bigger. All of these out, Hugh Jackman, they're Christian Bale, they're all much bigger actors than they were at the time.
And Serkis, yes, all of them.
I forget.
Andy Serkis. Yeah, I forgot he was even. Yeah, Andy Serkis.
Yeah. David Bowie's in this. I mean, he was a fantastic.
He's great in this. Yeah.
The whole cast is.
Yeah. Anything else on composition, camera work, cinematography stuff, or are we ready, guys, to move on to sound?
No, I just think generally, attention to detail.
Right?
Nolan is all about that. There's just nothing wasted.
Yes, he does. I will admit.
I mean, my one gripe with this movie, just to kind of transition down into sound, is that the soundtrack is not great. It's not memorable. It's just there, and Justin, you mentioned off mic that it's not Zimmer this time. Like we're going David Julian. We got Hans Zimmer and the other name's blanking me. James Newton Howard for Batman Begins, and then we got back to Julian for this one, and it's okay, but there's nothing memorable. There's no leitmotifs or anything that I'm like, oh yeah, that's the score of The Prestige. It's fake. It's freaking great. None of that stuff. So
no.
Yeah, I would agree. It sounds very generic. Like if you asked AI to create a soundtrack, it would come off as this.
Yeah. Except the machine. I think the machine makes incredible sounds.
No, that's the only thing.
The sound effects,
the zapping,
not the soundtrack or the music scores, but the sound effect.
100% agree.
And firing the machine up, and when it starts and the electricity whirring, are very, very sci-fi and really good.
Oh yeah,
it's also it's an uncomfortable noise too.
Yes.
Like I watched this thing with headphones, and like you see the first time you're introduced to Tesla's machine is when there's like that convention and Edison's men are trying to shut it down.
Yeah.
And listening to it, like you see the audience rightfully freaking out, and like I had to like turn down my volume because I don't like that noise in my ear. It's like akin to nails on a chalkboard type thing.
Yeah.
And it builds up.
And you feel the audience in that. You're like, I'd be freaking out too. This is the worst.
It's very visceral. It's like it's punching you. It's powerful. That's what I had to like. That's the one thing I can't get away from is the lightning sound, the electricity sound.
And the first time to see David Bowie in this movie when he walks through the electricity.
That's so cool.
It's pretty badass entrance right there. Like he just comes walking through it like no big deal. Those sounds, the little currents going everywhere, and he's just like, I'm Nicholas Tesla and I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that it introduces Nikola Tesla, and he's like such this iconic character like to us today, but it it really does not explain his whole backstory, the whole backstory with him and Edison. Like, there's a whole nother movie right there.
Yeah.
That it just breezes right over.
But isn't that supposed to kind of just, mirror a little bit what's happening in our movie? Where you're like, oh yeah, these are rivals and these are rivals here, and so it's kind of a rhyming thing again.
He's so amazing and polished in this, and he dies penniless and broke. And in my head, I was just like, man, this guy went from all of this to... It's
because of Edison.
So in this, Tesla would be Borden, where he's like a wonderful scientist, but a terrible showman.
I would suppose, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I never...
Because he's very elusive. Yeah, he's kind of reclusive.
He just can't really show it to the crowd in the same way. It scares people. Okay.
I'm not saying they're one for one.
In terms of sound, I really liked... I liked the complete silence of his rubber ball, like when he would throw that down, and the audience is just like, and then you hear the pop, pop, pop of the ball, and then nothing. The audience, like Cutter says, like the audience doesn't know what happened. It happened too quickly, and you as a viewer is feeling the same thing as the audience. They're just like, wait, what? Why is that exciting? I don't get it. And it's just punctuated by the ball bouncing. I like that.
I mean, I kind of alluded to it before with or I think a couple of us did actually, that there's voiceover in this with them reading their diaries, and I love that there's multiple switches where they're reading the diary and then the other guy's talking to him. That happens a couple of different times. Like, because I always forget about that's even an element of it, and you're like, oh, he totally tricked him, and then it's like, wait, no, now I tricked you. Like, how does that work?
Sit here reading this, Borden. Yeah, like that's very Blade Runner-ish.
Man, I'd be so
reading
ticked.
diaries.
Like, I'm on a train out to Colorado, and I read that line, and I'm just like, mother effer, he got me. Dang it.
Yeah.
Why didn't I read this whole thing before I made my trip?
Seriously, start on the back page.
Always skip to the last page.
Corey, you watched the wrong version of Blade Runner.
Sorry, I had to throw it in there. The dialogue.
Gotta watch it with,
anytime I have a dialogue with a diary, and I'm just like, Blade Runner.
He didn't want to do the voiceover. Watch the final cut. It's so much better.
All right.
You know what, Corey? I gotta say, you are in my brain. You live rent free in my brain every time I watch Blade Runner. I'm just like, stupid Corey.
And enjoy it thoroughly.
What does he know about movies?
Yeah, we watched a little bit of 2049 the other day. It was like, yes, love this movie.
I fell asleep at that.
No, you watched the wrong one. Were you watching it on your phone?
No, I was on TV. I was on the couch. Very cozy.
Getting too cozy.
It's a good movie to fall asleep to when you can't help.
Oh no, it's so good. Oh, speaking of that song you mentioned earlier, you didn't like. That's analyzed by Tom York of Radiohead.
Oh,
was that for the credits?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not like that. That was jarring. Like, you have this whole like period piece film, and then at the end you got this like Radiohead. Like, no,
it's a little.
I'm gonna make a TikTok, and I'm gonna do the ending scene right there, and then slowly slip into the Twilight Zone montage. And the monologue at the end, and I'm telling you right there, it's a Twilight Zone ending.
Also, hey Court, you know this is based on a book, right?
Oh sure, yeah. But
no, you didn't.
Yeah, but
it's like an hour-long show. They're condensing a book. Yeah, was it Christopher Priest, I believe, that wrote the book, and then had high compliments for this and said like he liked it a lot. Yeah, Christopher Priest.
So speaking of journals and books and whatnot, my question is, was the entire journal that they were writing intended for the purpose to trick the other person, or was it like halfway through writing of the journal they decided, you know what, I'm going to turn this into an elaborate prank?
See, that's where Nolan and his time stuff throws me off, because I'm like, okay, wait, are we just getting the journal view through the movie? Like, it's all in the very end, the day before he dies, like, and we're just getting splices of it along the movie? I mean, Nolan plays with time all the time, and it throws me off.
Yeah.
There's this part where I get lost, and I'm like, Nolan, I love nonlinear stuff, but I also prefer linear stuff too. So I can't tell.
And then also, how much of this we have two narrators. Well, three narrators if you count. So Cutter, Boardman, and Angier.
Yeah.
You've got to assume Cutter is a reliable narrator, but then the other two magicians, you're hearing the story from their point of view. Is it a correct version of the story?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. Yeah, and I would agree with you. I think you can trust Cutter, but yeah, there's. They fool people for a living. So.
Yeah, I mean, Cutter is the only good guy in this whole thing.
Yeah, I'd say.
Well,
that's
I guess the wife. I would say she's pretty good
poor
too.
Sarah. Yeah.
Poor Sarah. I feel so bad for her.
So we've already kind of transitioned into to performance, and I think we've kind of already alluded to that performances are great across the board. Fantastic cast. So, quotable lines from this movie? Corey, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. Because we're talking about their characters, right? I gotta say, and I don't know where I got this from now because I wrote these notes and on one of the sites I saw, it said Borden and Angier, like when you put the two descriptions together. Borden, obsessed with his craft, sacrifices identity and love. And then Angier, obsessed with revenge, sacrifices morality and life. And when you write these two sentences above each other, you really see how that character is contrasted in there. And I think that's really good because it points out, like we're going to talk about these quotes. And I think one of us is probably going to say the turn, the trick, and the pledge and all that. And I think it really shows with those two character quotes that what they're willing to sacrifice for it and what they're... Anyway, it's good. It was good.
No, yeah.
I like it.
That's great. Yeah, I was just looking for quotes that really worked for characterization. Like, oh yeah, this is a very telling quote, and I had several of them, but I want to hear what you guys have to say first, so I don't steal your thunder.
So just all around, like the acting in this was freaking stellar. Mm-hmm. But so Sarah though, I couldn't find the exact quote, but there's that scene where he says, "I love you," and she's like, "No, not today. Some days you love me, some days you love magic."
Yes.
And it helps to be able to tell the difference. That is just like, that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking that she is like living through that, and she's, for the most part, like she has to be okay with it. Now, by the end, she knows something is up. Do you think she knew exactly what it was?
I don't. I think, I mean, because she knew about what Scarlett Johansson's character, I can't remember her name off the top. She knew about her, so I kind of figured.
And there's a part where he comes and trades with the twin, and when he does, he said, it was right after he was fighting with her, and he says, "I need you to," and like he gives him directions, like to work it out and to be nicer and to do these things.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think at that moment, I kind of thought, which twin was the one that was arguing with her? Because was it the angry one? And then now the real love one that really loves her is coming in, or the one that really loves her is leaving, and he's trying to say, "Be nice."
I think the one arguing in that final like argument scene was the one that loved magic more. Because doesn't he say, "I love you," and she's like, "No, not today."
Yeah, you're right.
Well, yeah, that would be pretty big.
That's the one.
If we assume that she can tell the difference, which I think is a
wouldn't
fair
that be so
assumption.
hard, like in the hallway with your daughter, hearing that argument, and then not like you would want to like burst in there so badly and just be like, "Sarah, look, I love you." I don't know. You'd
Why
want
couldn't
to
she
tell.
be part of the trick? Like, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder whose daughter it was too.
Well, I'm going to assume that it was. So I think
one
you
who
go
lives
with
at the end.
Alfred is the one who lives at the end and is in love with Sarah, and Frederick is the one who is in love with Olivia, and
he's the one who dies.
Which
means Alfred is the father, and that's where they decide who you
just to
die.
differentiate. I've heard it. I don't know if it's in that and officially in the credits that way, but that's the way I've seen it in certain essays.
That would make me feel happier knowing that
I want to
the
believe
one that
that's
loved
the way
magic
that went.
Yeah. Because that is just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
All
That
right.
moment too, like where he thinks he's gonna see his daughter for the last time, and he's in prison, and his daughter's walking away. Oh my goodness! Like I've seen this movie before I had kids and after, and it hits different after.
It does.
After you have kids,
For sure.
it hurts.
All right, my quote.
Yeah.
Here we go. It is from Cutter, and I feel this is one of the most powerful quotes of the movie that I heard when I heard it. "Never show anyone. They'll beg you and flatter you for the secret, but as soon as you give it up, you'll be nothing to them."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, if that's not just human nature and the value of a mystery, is the moment the mystery is gone, you're nothing to them. And it's kind of, I don't know, I like wisdom in movies, and I'm like, that's a lot of wisdom in that quote. And Alfred is always so smart.
And
Michael
doesn't
Caine
Sarah
said it.
reinforce that idea after she is shown the bullet catch?
Yes.
She's just like, oh, it's actually quite simple once you see it.
He's like,
There's
it's
a lot of
not that simple.
There's a lot of that going around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin, did you have a line of dialogue that you wanted to share?
It was a line from Tesla, and it was, let's see. What does he say? I have it in my notes here.
Obsession is a young man's game?
No.
I like
It
that
was
quote.
about
He said,
society only tolerates one change at a time.
Yes.
yes.
And I feel like I like history. I'm a history teacher, but you see that a lot in history. Society tries to push change too quickly, and people's brains just aren't ready for it. And unfortunately, the wheels of history kind of have to move slowly in order to prepare the hearts and minds of people. And yeah, you see that in here where Tesla is just pushing a little too hard. People aren't okay with it. It's creepy. And then the other one I really liked was no one cares about the man in the box, the man who disappears. I like when Angier says that.
Well, I'm going to start with this one. This is right after Angier tells Cutter that he doesn't want to kill birds. And Cutter says, then stay off the stage. You're a magician, not a wizard. You got to get your hands dirty if you're going to achieve the impossible. Which is absolutely foreshadowing for later on.
All right, I got one more. And that is, again, I think Cutter's the one that I really speaks powerful to me. Because you know why? Cutter was the morality in this show.
Yeah.
Cutter was the audience and what they just wanted. And he speaks, but he also looks back at the audience as wanting to be fooled with this quote. He says, you don't really want to work it out. You want to be fooled. And I think it's good because he kind of talks about, I mean, as far as audience and as far as people who go to magic, I don't want to work it. Like, I'm always like, oh my gosh, how did they do it? But you don't want to know because then, like his wife, well, it really is quite simple.
Yeah, you don't want that.
You don't want that.
Yeah, you want to have a little bit of mystery in your life.
I want you to trick me.
Yeah.
I want you to say that's real magic. And so I want to be fooled.
I feel like you see that a lot with Cutter when he's talking to Angier, and he says, like, what does he say? Like, I once told you about a sailor that died, and you said it was like going home. No, I lied. He said it was agony. Like,
Yes.
Cutter was just telling Angier what he needed to hear at the time.
It was a funeral, man. Like,
Yeah, it was a funeral. You're not gonna be like, oh, he said it was agony. Your wife suffered. Let me tell you what.
yeah. Great twist, though.
And then he almost like Inception. He kind of like implanted that idea in his mind, but then later it's like,
Yes.
oh no, every
He did.
time you killed yourself,
Yes, that's true.
that sucked. Like, that was terrible.
Yep.
And I don't think Cutter is trying to, he's not trying to be malicious in that act. He's trying to help people, but it created an idea in his head that he wanted to fulfill over and over and over again.
Can you
Agreed.
imagine whoever had to clean up eventually that room of bodies had to be found?
Well, that's why he had the blind stage
Blind
hands.
guys, yeah.
I
They're
know,
wheeling
but
them off.
dear Lord,
know.
somewhere along in history, somebody was, hey, we're going to rebuild this building, and guess what? We just found 100 of the same bodies floating in here.
Yeah. Well, he had to know that at some point that was going to catch up with him.
Eventually.
My last one is Angier, and this is which we talked about a little bit with the makeup for what's the alternate identity for Borden? I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Let's see.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Fallon.
Oh.
So yeah, for
Fallon.
Fallon, there's like the makeup for Fallon or whatever, and Olivia's like, oh, he leaves all that stuff around, like it's totally, it's a double. They're just leaving up the makeup, and he can't do this all the time. And he says, all the time, Olivia, that's who he is. That's what it takes. He lives his act. Don't you see? And like, you're right there. You understand the commitment this guy has to this, and it's right in front of your face. And Cutter has told you repeatedly, it's a double. And you won't believe that it's that simple, but it really is. And you destroy yourself
that's why the movie
because
needs,
of that.
The movie needs so many rewatches. The more you watch it, the more obvious it becomes. It's like what Sarah said. Oh, it's really quite simple.
Yeah. And I love that. There's no like bait and switch. There's no like, oh, by the way, this character was around this whole time. You didn't know. No, the seeds are there. I mean, that's what made, The Sixth Sense so good, was like, if you're paying attention, oh yeah, that was right. And then you watch it again and like, of course it's obvious. I see all these things now.
You know what movie really makes me mad, and my kids won't watch this movie with me and they get really mad every time we watch it, is Frozen. Because the twist at the end of Frozen is that Hans was a bad guy all along. He was just trying to get Arendelle for, the trade. Mm-hmm. But you see several times Hans where it's just Hans alone, no one else. He's not performing for anybody. You see him smile, and a happy smile.
Yep.
Bull crap. No.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a bait and switch.
You should end that movie and go, oh, he was bad? Oh, there were clues all along. No, Disney lied.
Yep.
Freaking Disney.
False.
No, but this movie, it was there all along. You can rewatch it, and it's solid. Stupid Frozen. Kids movie made for kids.
Seriously. Costumes, hair, and makeup. I just said there are just so many fake beards and mustaches, like all the freaking time. But I will say that one thing I really appreciate is the Root, the actor who looks like Hugh Jackman, because it is Hugh Jackman. Like, just his teeth, it's subtle enough where you're like, is that a different guy?
Yeah.
No, it can't be. Like, it's a really good, it's a great piece of costume.
And his mannerisms are different enough too. Whereas when Christian Bale switches characters, the mannerisms are the same.
Pretty much the same.
But Hugh Jackman, every time I watch this movie, I have to look at the credits and be like, is that Hugh Jackman?
Does he have a twin? Does he have a twin in real life? No. That's fantastic. Oh, man. Yeah, and I just had the last thing I just had for that kind of stuff, body language. When Borden is at the final performance, like at the very end, the way when he hears the thing about, the tank trick was learned from, a woman that he loved, the way he leans so far forward and stares like he knows what's about to happen. Just the way that he's so sucked in, exactly the way that Angier wants him to be. So I love that they zoomed in on that and like, yeah.
Oh, and then I feel like we haven't talked about Angier's wife dying, but that scene where Borden shows up to the funeral and he's like, "Which knot did you tie?"
Oh,
and he's like, "I don't know," and that drives Angier crazy. I don't know. He doesn't know. It wasn't him. It was the other guy.
Oh yeah. How could you not know?
How could you not know?
Why and then he writes it in the diary too. Did I tie a slip knot or did I? He does it just to.
He has like, I wrestle with myself and I won't be able to admit it or whatever. There's a line like that too. See, that's why I wonder, was he writing that diary all along to be read by Angier? Because it seems like at the beginning he is, even in his diary, he is playing one person with a split mind. Yes. Or both of them writing that diary. Are they taking turns? No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think they're both writing the diary as one person, but it's in such a way that Angier doesn't even know until he gets shot at the very end. So, part of me thinks that diary was not written specifically for him. I mean, we talked about this too.
So that just clicked for me. So the reason he doesn't know what knot he tied, it was the other brother.
Yeah. Well,
the brother tied the knot, and the other brother went to the funeral.
Yeah. How deep does this deception go? Like, do they literally think of themselves as two halves of the same person? Or is that the act? Is he that committed? Or is clever. Is he psychologically damaged to the point that he really does see himself as two halves of the same person?
Clever.
Yeah, I would like to see, I mean, I wouldn't. I think it would ruin the movie. I would like to see more conversations between the brothers to see kind of like that, how that relationship works.
It's so rare that we get to see those.
I think you see it twice, maybe? Like you see two interactions and they're both very quick.
Yeah, him talk to Fallon, yeah. Oh my gosh. Love this movie.
This movie's so good.
Here's another thing that's fantastic about this movie. So locations and stuff, this setting design. Do you know where this was filmed? Did you guys see where this was filmed? Where would you imagine that this was filmed?
Colorado Springs?
Well, yeah, some of it's in Colorado. That is legit. That's actually what happened. It's in Los Angeles. It is not in London. But London. It looks like turn of the century London.
They did a great job on setting. Holy cow.
Yeah. So good job, Location Scout. That's fantastic. But yeah, just trying to see what else we got here. Yeah, backlots, the Palace Theater, Los Angeles Theater for the performances. So, I mean, that's convenient for your cast and crew, I suppose. But
yeah, I think they do a great job with that whole setting and the fogginess and grittiness of the time period.
Yeah. So, any other like set decoration stuff? I mean, I had the field of light bulbs just because that's just amazing.
Yeah. Set decorations. I think the magic props and the stuff being in the background all the time, especially in Christian Bale, Alfred Borden's workshop, like they just are raising a flock of birds all the time in the background, and they're always chirping. They're always in there. And so to use them as a decoration where he's in that, and then his whole, when she comes to him and says, you know, he sent me here to trick you and to tell you everything and do all that. When she comes to talk to him, that whole workroom is just kind of an amazing workroom, barn, open area that he's doing ironing, fixing things, you know, welding stuff, whatever he's doing to make things, make props. And I thought that was definitely down to the detail of that room.
Well, and having, you know, for the characterization, having that be to see Borden's place compared to everywhere Angier's at.
Yeah.
You know, we see him like especially like when he goes to Colorado and like everything is, he's obviously very wealthy. We don't know to the extent until we get to the end of the movie, you know, that he's a lord. But yeah, the furniture, the huge windows, gold furnishings, all of those things. Where Alpha just, you know, just kind of thrown together, and yeah, it's going to smell with all those birds in there and stuff. Like they're not living in this, they're not living the same lifestyle at all.
Not even close.
Yeah. I'm just looking to see if I have any props that I hadn't already talked about. Yeah, the various Tesla machines are amazing. The diary, of course. Yeah, the rubber ball, I had that too. So.
Yep.
Anything else that you had in that category?
Nope.
We talked a lot about this stuff, the water tanks, of course. And then characters, yeah, I get just to kind of move down there. I'm trying to see if there's anybody we haven't talked about. We didn't mention Piper Perabo by name, but that's the one that plays Hugh Jackman's wife. And Rebecca Hall, who's in Iron Man 3, among many other things, as Sarah Borden. Of course, David Bowie as Nikola Tesla.
How quick off of the heels of Batman was this movie?
Well, let's see. So Batman Begins was 2005, right? The summer of 2005. What's the release date on this one? I had this here.
This is 2006.
It's 2006, right?
So they had gone from one project to another.
Yeah.
Which, to me, is just amazing. Like him, and in real life, him and Michael Caine must just be buddies. And you know what I mean? Like, because how many movies? They did Batman, this Prestige, and then they turned around and do the next two Batman also. Like, they just got to know each other.
And he's in Inception, and he's in Interstellar, and he's in Tenet. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we'll get to Cillian. We've seen Cillian Murphy once. We're going to see him a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of his muse at, you know, in the later stages, but...
I feel like Cillian Murphy could have been in this pretty easily if you've seen like Peaky
Right?
Blinders. Like he's right there.
Yeah, no, yeah.
He's in the same country.
He could have been, you know, Andy Serkis's character, for instance, or any one of those guys. Ricky Jay, which we've seen in a ton of different stuff. I remember him most like from some episodes, or at least one episode of the X-Files. But he's the magician at the beginning that they're apprenticing under. He's a real magician.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he trained him on some of the stuff, and I remember reading that he trained him just enough to be able to pull off some of the stuff, but like didn't actually give them all of the knowledge because you can't do that. That's the whole thing.
Didn't want to let him have the sleight of hand.
Yeah. Well, and again, the thing I also always forget too, I'm going to try not to mispronounce the guy's name. The character's name is Chung Ling Soo. Chao Li Chi, I believe, is the actor's name. He plays the Chinese magician who acts like he's old all the time. But he's really not. He's a young man, and
You know,
that's why he's able to pull off the thing.
I have issue with that.
Okay,
have
yeah.
issue.
Let's dig in.
How is I mean, Hugh Jackman, famously a ripped dude, could hardly carry the bowl between his legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does the other guy do it with all the water in there, even if
Focused
he's a younger
his
dude?
chi, obviously.
Oh.
Practice.
Got it.
Yeah, no, it's...
Also,
I
how
love
did
that.
he
That's
get it from
another
between
great
his
scene.
thighs
I
to up on the
wrote
table?
that down, too. Where that magic.
Because his hands were busy doing the cloth
Yeah.
thingy.
I don't know.
Mm.
But Alfred
Plot hole.
gets it, right?
Whole
They're
movie's crap.
sitting there watching him, and he's like, this is the act right here. This is the act. Him getting into the...
Well, because he's
Getting in
been
the
learning
carriage.
that for years. So he's like, I've been doing this. This guy does it.
Yeah, that's why he gets it, and Hugh Jackman, it doesn't. That's why Angier doesn't get it. So
You know what's
see.
funny about the
Anything else
Christian
we
Bale
got?
part is like,
Yeah.
I think about the instances where that would have been really difficult to pull off. So like when he's going to Sarah's apartment for the first time, and he tries to invite himself in for a cup of tea, and Sarah's like, no, and then Sarah goes inside, and he's inside the house. Like you later find out it's the brother, but what if Sarah would have said yes and invited him inside?
And they're both there.
And they're both there. Boom. So,
Yeah.
it's
So
movie over.
So the movie can happen. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think we talked about all the characters.
The old guy. Oh gosh, I'm looking at his picture right now. Hold on, I got to figure out who he is. He is so recognizable. You hear his voice. He is Santa in so many movies, by the way, as a voiceover. Doggone it. The really... Oh, I can't. William Morgan Shepherd.
Yeah. The owner of the theater.
He has got such a recognizable voice.
Yeah, he does.
And it does a ton of movies where he's just Santa Claus and voiceovers. And anyway, whenever I see him in a movie, I'm always like, oh my gosh, it's Santa.
Not this time.
Not this time.
So, Hero's Journey, it's not that.
No, it's not that kind of movie.
Like,
No,
Angier's
not that
descent
type of
into
movie.
madness is pretty much what I had. Like, it is an origin story, but it's like a villain origin story. I mean, I don't think Borden doesn't change. Well, Borden's, they don't change. Alfred and Freddy, they don't
Yeah,
change.
he has no character development.
No.
Like his circumstance changes, but he
He is
doesn't.
a flat
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Yes. Angier is a dynamic character.
So would Angier
He's
be
the greatest showman.
Who's the protagonist and who's the antagonist?
I think they're dueling protagonists. I don't think it's not that kind of movie. I don't think we necessarily
You're
have
not
it.
that kind of movie.
They're two sides of the same coin. I think that's kind of the whole deal. Corey pointed that out earlier, like the way that the world views work. And then within that you've got the two brothers who have different views of the world too. So there's three protagonists. Because I think of them as
I don't know
one.
if I'd say
Even
different.
though there's two
I mean,
brothers.
this is
I still
splitting
don't
hairs.
think- Yeah.
Splitting hairs, but I don't think it's different views of the world. I think it's just same view of the world, but different. Like they'd rank their priorities differently because they're both still committed to the bit, even
Yeah.
to the point of my wife's killed herself.
Yes. I'll allow it.
Don't you think they could have been a dynamic duo if they'd have worked together instead of competing?
Well, of course.
One could have been Robin, the other could have
With
been
the
Batman.
technical proficiency and the showmanship, but that's not what this story is. This story is about, bitter feud.
Yes.
It's Nolan's pettiest movie.
Petty.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I have for... No, here's... world building. It's basically our world, pretty much. Although there's the sci-fi angle, which you don't see coming. With, the clones and whatnot. That's about it.
Unrelated, but semi-related. I was dating a girl in 2006 when I saw this movie. I took her to this movie for the first time.
Yeah?
And I went to go see it a second time, and she didn't want to come see it with me because she didn't like it. And I was like, I don't think it's going to work out.
You're like, you dumped her after that, I bet.
That's perfect.
No, I didn't dump her after that. But the seed was there. I knew it was.
You knew.
I knew it was bad.
Yeah.
This is
This
not
is
going to
not
work out.
anywhere.
I had not quite the same, but I do remember that there was a girl that I was dating who didn't like The Princess Bride, and it was like, well, that's not.
Whoa!
What?
That is aggressive.
Easy there.
I know.
I mean, the Prestige I can understand, but Princess Bride?
Oh,
That's just un-American.
That's no soul. She has no soul.
Yeah, that's wrong.
If she's listening right now, I hope you've changed your ways. That's
or falling down a flight of stairs. Because what's wrong with you?
That's
that
aggressive.
Escalated. I mean, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of
I
hand.
hope she landed okay, but I want her to, feel the pain on the way down. I don't want her dead, just hurt.
And then as she's laid up in the hospital healing, she watched Princess Bride again and was like, this is a fantastic movie.
You know what, actually? I mean, yeah.
That's all you guys need for me to do is to watch Blade Runner. I need to get injured and then watch Blade Runner in the hospital.
You got to watch the final cut. And then
all right,
watch,
Corey, just watch out for
next time I'm in the hospital, you guys come visit me and say, here's a copy of Blade Runner.
That's so good.
I hope you're in a coma where you can't do anything but hear and see.
God! Dang!
Again. Chippy. It's the end of the year. We're all a little chippy.
I'll just put it on the TV on repeat, and you can't ever stop it.
Nothing you can do. You'll get it. You need to see it a few times before you appreciate it. There you go.
This is the outtakes.
No, they're standing. Final thoughts on The Prestige. Corey, I'm going to start with you.
I'm going to go first, Craig.
Yeah, I want you to. I have decided to go first.
It is a good movie. I like this movie. I don't want to come across saying I didn't like it. I think you look at this cast, you cannot say this is not a stellar cast. It's done well. The director is incredible. Absolutely. It does show that it's a movie that means you have to watch this movie more than once. You can't just watch it one time. Because the first time you're going to be caught off and then the twist at the end. But then every time after that, you're going to start looking for the little details that you've missed. And that's the thing with Nolan movies. You can't watch Nolan movies one time and be done. But it's a great movie. It's about secrets, which I love. And it's about how far you're going to go for greatness, which I love. What are you willing to sacrifice? And that's what makes a good magic trick, is what is you're willing to sacrifice. So there you go, Craig. Great movie, Justin. Not bad. I might watch it again Craig. Sometime.
Yeah. I would take you on a second date, Corey.
Oh,
we would see this movie again.
I knew it.
Justin, final thoughts.
So I think if I were to look at Christopher Nolan's career, this is the movie that really cemented him, right? Because you got like Memento. That could have been a one-off. Like maybe he had that bouncing around his head for a while. And it was kind of a low-budget film. Okay, good. Okay, but maybe you got lucky. Beginner's luck. And then you got Insomnia. He didn't write that. It was someone else. And to be honest, I don't think it's that great of a movie. Like, it's a good movie, but it's forgettable. And then you got Batman. Like, they give him Batman. Okay, you did a good job in Batman. That's easy. Like, half the work is done for you. It's freaking Batman. Like, you're not putting a lot of work into that. I say that knowing how freaking hard it is to be a director.
Schumacher exists.
I'm not trying to like downplay making a movie with Batman in it. But then you got this where it's like, oh, this is like a bigger budget film. You got a lot of big actors in it. It tells a very compelling story with a very good twist that I don't think anybody saw coming. Well, except for Corey, apparently. He saw it coming. And it pulls it off. And like we've all said, I think like the movie demands multiple rewatches because it's all there. It's all he's showing you the trick the entire time. And it just enhances the movie that much. This is a lot of Nolan's films. I feel like I would like a prequel or a sequel. This one, I'm like, no, this is perfect, start to finish. Mm-hmm. I don't want anything more. It's great. It's top 5 favorite movie. Fantastic. No complaints. Except for the Chinaman holding a big bowl of water between his legs. Doesn't make sense. Plot hole.
Well, if you made it black and white and called it in an episode of Twilight Zone, it might.
Oh, Corey.
Stop it.
Sorry. Dang it. I should have done it. I should have said it.
So, I mean, you don't need a sequel or a prequel, but I would like to go and revisit not revisit, it means I've done it before. I would like to read the book, though. I think that would be an interesting take because there are some key differences in it just from doing my research. And we didn't get into that a whole lot, but there's like a lot more spiritualism, and it's a framing device where there's the descendants of Angier and Borden that are rivals as well, and so that's we kind of replace some of the diary stuff kind of replaces some of that stuff. But
that could be fun.
Yeah, to get like an alternate take on it essentially, and what I've heard is they're both great, and Christopher Priest wrote
sometimes
the book,
I
loves
like
this
watching
movie
the
too,
movie
so.
and then going to the book, because if the book disagrees, I feel this way about Blade Runner, and then the book is based off of the what's that called?
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yeah, Do Androids Dream. It's like the Blade Runner, the movie, and the book depart from each other quite a bit, but they're both equally compelling. But because they're separate, it doesn't detract from the movie. Whereas if you made like a cinematic version, like a prequel or a sequel, it could potentially sour the original. And books don't do that because they're in separate universes.
So I think that's kind of my homework for myself. At some point, I should read the Prestige book. But yeah, I just wanted to just also kind of talk about the fact, and we kind of alluded to it before, the fact that this gets made in between Batman movies, that it's a pet project. Like, I love what you said. Like, this does kind of solidify who Nolan is, that he, essentially stood up for himself and was like, I need to make this movie. This is a movie he'd been trying to make for a while, and had the clout to say, I'm holding off on production on my Batman sequel, which turns out to be an amazing sequel, The Dark Knight, which will be our next film, to make this film. He does not compromise. I'm going to do this movie. I mean, as his fourth movie. I think he was just destined for greatness. Yeah. So
it's almost like he finally proved to Hollywood, like, hey, I got it.
Yeah, I can make a period piece here, and from essentially it's an existing IP, but like not one that we knew about. So, yeah, great film, absolutely holds up. Did you?
Ooh. Yeah, it's $11.79, 41% off right now.
Nice. So I think just my final thing is whether or not Angier is killing himself or killing the clone. In either case, he's sacrificing his humanity. It doesn't really matter which version it is. Like, that's ultimately where we got. That's where he ends. And he's willing to become that monster to get his hands dirty. So that's my 2 cents on that. I don't know which one it is, but it honestly doesn't matter because of that overarching theme.
I think more so than any of our other movies we've covered with Christopher Nolan, I would be curious, audience, your opinion on this movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, hopefully we'll have some stuff in the Facebook group on that, and hit us up on X or Instagram and whatnot.
And I would argue with any one of them if it's whether the clone or not, because I think that's someone's got to post that. I might have to post that on there.
Get on there, dude.
He's a clone.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. If you wanna connect with us, first off, just thanks so much for listening to us ramble for the last hour. But yeah, you can find us on X, Instagram, Facebook. Email us at readingbetweenreels@gmail.com. You can use the SpeakPipe app on our website and just talk your response in there. That speaking response makes that very easy. And if you enjoy the show, please like, follow, subscribe, and be sure to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. This really helps the show a lot and absolutely helps us reach more people. And one last thing, just to let you guys know, give you a heads up, we're going to be taking a bit of a break from our series on the films of Christopher Nolan. We will be back with The Dark Knight in August. But our next episode is going to be the first in our annual summer series featuring my students and some very special guests talking about Star Wars. So join us for Star Wars 101.